the news really just came down around winter and spring student athletes and some of the eligibility questions. And there's still so many questions to be answered, but the possibility for some spring seniors to be able to claw back a year of eligibility. Have any student athletes reached out to you three specifically with questions about what it might mean to them, either academically, career growth? They might have already had jobs lined up and they might be questioning what they should do, what they can do. Just thinking about the human impact of this news that's still to be felt for several weeks, I would imagine.
Well, Kurt, I think that's another great question. And actually, yes, I had this conversation yesterday with one of our student athletes. And their forethought was, I may have an additional year, right? Because this summer is definitely uncertain as far as the job market goes. I have an additional year to grow my professional development skills. I have an additional year to do some more informational interviews and some more shadowing. So I think some of our student athletes are going to take advantage of this, right? This is a positive. If not, right, then they go out and into this really uncertain world of job placement, right, career outcomes. And so I think, for some of them, once they, as BT mentioned, those 2 weeks, they calm down and realize, if I have this opportunity, I'm gonna take advantage of it, right? And I'm gonna come out better. So I think they're, other than being excited to play, I think they're excited about getting more experience.
I would agree. We've had student athletes reach out to our advisors asking what does that mean. And what I've shared with the advisors, and this was prior to the decision being rendered, we function as if nothing has ever changed. So that's why I say we make decisions based on the information that we receive. Recognizing that the potential exists, there's a larger conversation that will have to happen from the athletic department. There's a larger conversation that will have to happen within the conference office as well, as noting what their position is going to be as it relates to this. So still an unknown at this point, despite the decision that was rendered. But I think the way to play it is based off of what you know. As BT noted, there's the bucket of uncontrollables. I remind folks that the things that we cannot control do not need to consume our mind or our actions as much as it does the things that we do know.
Yeah, actually, I had a couple of student athletes that said these 2 weeks have allowed them to reflect a lot more on, because they weren't sure if they were going to, if their season was going to be done and they weren't going to come back. But they're like, they realize they're not as prepared as they want to be when the lanes open back up and they got to merge onto this highway. And so they want to do some work on growing their professional development so that they can be prepared to merge into those lanes and jump into the fastest lane. So this will be good for them.
Appreciate that. We have a question from earlier from Bill. And Bill, what I'd say, if you want to circle back with me after this webinar to speak with one of our mental health counselors, I'd be happy to set that up for you. But we're having this conversation right now about spring student athletes, the verdict with them, winter student athletes. But at the same time, we've all seen the national narrative shift forward looking to fall sports. And the question is, to the best of your degree, what have you seen from our student athletes who might be facing these questions about whether their next season is going to happen, what it's going to look like? Obviously, there's a pull here with football and the financial importance to many universities, but have we heard from student athletes that are questioning what might be happening coming down the road?
I can't say that I've heard any of that. I can say, though, based on the data and trends of our virus, let's suppose it resurfaces its head in fall. What does that mean now? So there are certainly scenarios that are being played by leadership to be able to put plans in place if things like that were to happen. But then I would pose the bigger question. So if it was to come back in the fall, what does that mean? Does that mean having a game with no fans? Does it mean not having a game at all? What are the implications for that? Do you now provide an opportunity potentially for fall student athletes as well? Is it a one-year problem? So is it just for seniors? Is it a 4-year problem if you're saying it's for everybody? What are the financial implications of all of that? Potentially that could end up happening too, which can be devastating. I think the reality is that there are definitely decisions that are being made, and it's going to be left at the discretion of the institutions. The question is going to become is what kind of PR nightmare you might receive from some of the decisions that you make, even though it's for the best of the organization or the sustainability of it. And I'm not just saying that as an employee of the University of Michigan. I would say that working at any institution that depends upon revenue from some of its revenue-producing sports.
BT, Maurice, summed it up well. And no matter what happens, our student athletes they're still going to have to take their classes. They're still going to have to make progress towards their degree. They're going to have to better themselves as leaders, and they're going to have to be, more thoughtful about what their next step is in life. So,
work on what we know.
Right, absolutely.